Hello, this is Maggie, and this is a follow-up video after my spatial orientation video regarding fourths and fifths. Those were slow beating intervals. I'm going to do one now with fast beating intervals. These are not tests most people use on a regular basis, and I don't either. It is something you can use, but it's more for your spatial orientation with wide and narrow intervals. So I'm going to pick A. Because we're dealing with faster beating intervals, I'm going to pick a little bit of a lower note. And in our last video, I mentioned if you have mixed videos where, like, if I have minor and major, this is a narrow interval, this is a wide interval. If I were to move A down, I would narrow this interval and widen this interval. I would narrow my narrow interval and widen my wide interval, and so they would both speed up. If that doesn't make sense, go back and look at a previous video. I'll write down the one to look at in the comments because I don't remember right now. If I have a major interval in the bottom and a minor interval on top, and I were to lower this A, I would be narrowing the major interval and widening the narrow interval, and they would both slow down, and vice versa with both of these. So that doesn't give me enough information to know if it's sharp or flat per se, if everything else is correct. But if I have the same intervals, if I have major and major, for example, some people are familiar with contiguous thirds. So if I just look at these two contiguous thirds, you know this upper one has to be faster than this lower one, which in this case it is. If it were not, if I was confident that these two notes were right but not about my A, if this interval was faster than this one, what would be wrong? My A would be sharp, because if this interval, wide interval, is fast and this wide interval is slow, that means this A is closer to this C sharp than it ought to be and further away from this F than it ought to be. So it would be sharp if that were the case. If this is slower than this, it could be flat, it might be on pitch. That's not a good gauge. It'll definitely tell you if it's sharp. If it's a lot slower here than here, then you might be able to say, yeah, it's flat. And that's going to be my cap. If I look at major sixth, I have the same thing. This lower interval needs to be slower than the upper interval. And everything I said a minute ago also applies. If my lower interval is faster than my upper interval, then I know this A is sharp. If I'm pretty sure these two notes are correct. It could be one of these notes is off. And same here, it could be one of these notes is off. But if these are right, or if these are right, and if this is fast and this is slow, then I know that A is sharp. I hope that makes sense. You can do this with other intervals, but I kind of don't want to get into that right now. Minor sixths are usable, but maybe not in this context. It's hard to know what you're listening to with those. Minor thirds are definitely doable if you get used to hearing them. So in this case, if I have a minor third, this minor third should also be slower than this minor third, just as with the major thirds. Okay, but these are narrow intervals. So if this interval is slower than this one, then I know I'm in the ballpark. If this interval is faster than this one, than that one, that means that this A is, because these are narrow intervals now, this A is closer to here, to the F sharp, than to the C. If this is faster than this, my A is flat, not sharp. It's flat. So let me go over this again. If this is faster than this, my A might be flat. if this is faster than this, my A might be sharp. With major sixth, if this is faster than this, my A might also be sharp. With a minor sixth, if you can hear it, I can actually hear that. It's just like a minor third. If this is faster than this, then my A is flat. So that can help get you some useful information. I hope this makes sense. Let me go ahead and move the A to give you a demonstration along with just me talking. So I will start with major thirds. And let me go ahead and make this a lot slower. I'm going to lower my A. Actually, I'll lower the A, and I'm going to compare this and that. So slowing this major third down a lot. Now watch what happens to this major third. It's booking. That's insane. So if you were to hear this, you'd say, oh my gosh, that A is so flat. Now what happens here to this minor third? That's slowed down a bit. That's so fast you can't hear it. I can actually hear it, but now this is slower than this. You see that A is flat. So I'm going to raise it up now. See what I've done? This is slow now. That's too slow. Let me lower it just a little. So now this major third is faster than this major third. So I know that A is sharp. Let's listen to my minor thirds here. See how slow that got? Now we do want the lower minor third slower than the upper. So we can't guarantee this is telling us anything, but that's a big difference. That minor third just got easy to hear. And that's my husband using a saw. Okay. I didn't think to check my sixth while I was doing this, so see how slow that is? See? So I know it's sharp because this A flat's closer to this F than it is to this C. So I know it's sharp. Minor sixth. That's booking so fast you can barely hear it. That just got easy to hear. So I know this is sharp because my minor third slows down when you widen it. My minor sixth and minor thirds both slow down when you widen them, and my major sixth and major thirds speed up when you widen them. So I'm going to use this to get my A back in the ballpark here. I think I'm in the ballpark. It may or may not be right. Don't know if I tuned this A. I'm in the ballpark. So you can use this if you get in a bind and you need an extra check. You can use like intervals to see if you're sharp or flat. You can compare them all. I forgot something. I'm adding this video in. I forgot to mention you can combine different wide intervals. So if I'm looking at this A, I can have a major third below and a major sixth above, and I'm going to have the same effect as a major sixth below and a major sixth above. This major third is going to have to be slower than the major sixth, and if I move that A sharp, this is going to get faster, this is going to get slower, and if I move it flat, this is going to get slower, and this is going to get faster. So I can use it in the same way. If this major third is faster than this major sixth, then I know my A is sharp. And it's the same with major sixth and a major third. This major sixth should be slower than this major third. And if it's not, that A is sharp again. Same, minor 6 if you can hear it, depending on the piano. Minor 6, minor third. That has to be slower. If it's faster, that A is flat. And minor third, minor 6th. That minor third has to be slower. If it's not slower, if it's faster, that A might be flat. So you can combine like intervals if you're thinking about them wide or narrow. You can combine different wide intervals and get that same effect. You can combine narrow intervals and get that same effect. I hope this helps. If you have any questions, let me know. I will put some information about how to contact me in the comments, along with the video that I think will help prep for this one. Happy tuning! Bye!